The Las Vegas arena thrummed with life. A cavernous space where the roar of 20,000 fans echoed off the rafters. It was the Western Wrestling League's championship night, a spectacle of sweat, showmanship, and raw power. The air carried the sharp tang of adrenaline, the kind that makes your pulse race. In the VIP section, Jason Statham sat quietly. A guest, invited by the promoters to sprinkle some Hollywood stardust on the event. At 57, he was no stranger to crowds. But tonight, he wasn't the action hero of the Expendables or Crank. He was just a man in a black leather jacket. His sharp blue eyes scanned the ring with a calm that belied his years of training. Fans nearby stole glances, whispering excitedly. Their phones already capturing sneaky photos of the legend in their midst. The main event had just ended. Vince, the Titan, Malone, a 6 feet 4 inches juggernaut with a shaved head and a smirk that could cut glass, stood triumphant in the ring. He'd just pinned his opponent, a veteran wrestler named Rico, the Bulldog, Torres, in a brutal 15-minute match. The referee raised Vince's hand. The gleaming championship belt was draped over his shoulder. At 28, Vince was the league's undisputed king. A wrestler who didn't just win, he dominated, leaving his opponents humiliated with his taunts and theatrics. Tonight, he was in rare form. Soaking up the crowd's mixed reaction of cheers and boos like a rock star. Vince grabbed the microphone. His voice boomed through the arena. "Another one bites the dust," he crowed, pacing the ring like a predator. His eyes swept the crowd, then locked onto the VIP section. The Jumbotron followed his gaze, zooming in on Jason, whose face remained impassive. "Well, look who we got here." Vince's tone turned mocking, his grin widening. "Jason Statham, the big movie tough guy. What's the matter, Statham? You here to take notes on how real fighters do it?" The crowd erupted. Some laughed, others chanted, "Jason! Jason!" Vince leaned into it, loving the chaos. "Stick to your fake punches and stunt doubles, mate. This ring's for the real deal." He dropped the mic with a flourish, flexing for the cameras as the arena shook with noise. Social media lit up instantly. Clips of Vince's taunt spread like wildfire. Hashtag Vince vs. Statham was already trending. Jason didn't flinch. His hands rested loosely on his knees. But those who knew him, like his old stunt coordinator Mike, sitting beside him, saw the slight tightening of his jaw. "Kid's got a mouth," Mike muttered, shaking his head. Jason's lips curved into a faint, almost dangerous smile. "He's got no idea what he started." In that moment, Jason wasn't just the action star. He was the kid from London's rough streets. The diver who'd fought for a spot on Britain's national swimming squad. The man who'd spent decades mastering kickboxing, karate, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, not for the cameras, but for himself. Vince's words weren't just a jab. They were a spark. Reigniting a fire Jason hadn't felt in years. Backstage, the promoters were already buzzing. They'd invited Jason as a publicity stunt, but this was gold. One of them, a wiry man named Tony with a headset and a clipboard, approached Jason during a break. "Mate, the crowd's eating this up. One match. You versus Vince. Exhibition. No stakes. Just show. You in?" Mike started to protest, but Jason held up a hand. His eyes were still on the ring, where Vince was hyping the crowd. He thought of his younger self. The boy who'd faced down bigger, louder bullies and proved them wrong. He thought of his daughter Ella, watching at home. And the lesson he wanted her to carry: never let someone else's words define you. "Make it quick," Jason said. His voice was low, but firm. "I'm not here to play games." The announcement came minutes later. Flashing across the Jumbotron in bold red letters. Special exhibition match, Jason Statham vs. Vince the Titan Malone. The arena exploded. Fans leapt to their feet, some cheering for the Hollywood star, others for the champ who'd just thrown down the gauntlet. Vince, still in the ring, looked momentarily stunned. Then he grinned, grabbing the mic again. "Oh, you're on, Statham. I'm gonna make you wish you stayed in your fancy trailer." The crowd roared. The tension was electric. Jason, already heading backstage, shed his jacket, revealing a black tank top that showed off the lean, hard-earned muscle of a man who'd never stopped training. The match was set for the night's finale. In a makeshift locker room, Jason prepared. Mike hovered nearby, worry creasing his face. "He's 30 years younger and built like a tank, Jason. You sure about this?" Jason laced up his boots. His movements were deliberate. "He's strong. But he's sloppy. Talks too much. That's his weakness." Mike nodded. He knew better than to argue. He'd seen Jason spar. Seen the focus that turned the actor into something else entirely. A fighter who didn't need a script to win. When the bell rang, the arena was a cauldron of noise. Vince charged like a bull. All power and bravado, aiming to overwhelm Jason with sheer force. He swung a massive right hook, but Jason moved like water, sidestepping with the agility of his diving days. The crowd gasped as Vince's fist hit air. Jason countered with a precise kick to the back of Vince's knee, making the giant stumble. "Come on, movie star." Vince bellowed, his face red with embarrassment. He lunged again, this time for a takedown. But Jason was ready. He twisted out, using Vince's momentum to send him crashing into the ropes. The fans were on their feet, stunned by the action star's real-world skill. The fight unfolded like a chess match. Vince was a powerhouse, his punches and grapples fueled by raw strength. But he was reckless, playing to the crowd instead of focusing. Jason was the opposite. Every move calculated, every strike surgical. When Vince tried to lock him in a chokehold, Jason dropped low, spinning into a Brazilian jiu-jitsu hold that trapped Vince's arm. The champ grunted, pain flashing across his face. But he broke free, his ego driving him to swing harder, wilder. Jason absorbed it all. His face a mask of calm. His body a testament to years of discipline. For Jason, this wasn't just about the fight. Each dodge, each counter, carried the weight of his past. He remembered the schoolyard taunts. The coaches who said he'd never make it. The industry suits who called him a nobody, before he proved them wrong. Vince's mockery wasn't new. It was just louder. As Jason ducked a wild punch, he thought of Ella, watching on her phone back in London. And the lesson he wanted her to see. Strength isn't in size or noise, but in heart, focus, and the will to keep going. He wasn't here to prove he was tougher than Vince. He was here to prove he was still him. Vince was unraveling. His taunts turned to curses. His movements grew sloppy with frustration. He'd underestimated Jason. Expected a showbiz pushover. Not a fighter. In a desperate move, Vince charged for a body slam. Jason saw it coming. He dropped to one knee. Swept Vince's legs. And in a heartbeat, locked him in a jiu-jitsu chokehold. The arena went silent. Then erupted, as Vince struggled. His face purple. His hand hovering over the mat. Finally, he tapped out. The sound cut through the noise like a blade. The referee raised Jason's hand. The crowd lost it, chanting his name until the walls shook. Vince, gasping on the mat, stared up in disbelief. His bravado gone. Jason didn't gloat. He knelt beside Vince. Offered a hand. "Good fight," he said, voice steady. Vince hesitated, pride warring with reality. Then took the hand. letting Jason pull him up. The crowd roared louder, not just for the fight, but for the respect that followed. It was a moment of raw humanity, captured on every phone in the arena. As Jason walked out of the ring, the cheers followed him. But his mind was quiet. He'd come as a guest, not a warrior. Yet he'd left as both. Backstage, Mike grinned, clapped him on the shoulder. "You didn't just win, mate. You taught that kid something." Jason nodded, his thoughts on Ella. He hoped she'd seen it. Not the takedown, but the truth behind it. That real strength lies in staying true to yourself, no matter who tries to tear you down. The internet buzzed for weeks. Clips of Jason's victory went viral. Fans marveled at his skill, his calm under fire. But for Jason, it wasn't about the headlines. It was about standing up, not just in the ring, but in life. And showing the world that no one, not a champion, not a bully, gets to define your worth. The moral hung in the air, like the echo of the crowd. Arrogance blinds. Discipline and heart endure. And sometimes, the quietest man in the room is the one who speaks the loudest.